Cool. I got a fairly busy agenda today, though a lot of it's just me rambling. Chen, you want to go first?
Mine is just the heads up. So the process will kick off Monday, next Monday. We are building the schedule right now. So yeah, we are getting things together.
Cool. Do we have like the first week mostly mapped out, or is it still?
No, not yet. So I just sent out one message this morning calling more activities. Then I will start assigning slots tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it seems like if folks want to do a specific slot early to kind of lock it in, then that's reasonable from that perspective. Cool. Cool. Next one's me. Product kickoff is tomorrow. Just a reminder about that. I have a question there basically asking how many issues have been vetted. Just something FYI for everybody to kind of go look at and see what's being projected for their various areas. There's definitely some feedback of, do, say versus do, as Todd likes to comment. We're not going super formal with that yet, but definitely want to understand, like what do we think we've really committed to versus what do we think is aspirational versus something else, and kind of start working through that from that perspective. Does that make sense for folks?
Yeah. So have we aligned with product on, because prior to this, it's been product puts items in the kickoff doc, but they're not necessarily like, we don't call it commitments. They're ambitious planning is how we see it. And Stan might be able to describe it better because he's been doing this for a while. But are we moving to more predictable, as in the managers and team need to commit to what's on the kickoff? And has that been documented and communicated broadly?
So I need to check with Josh. Where they were, I believe, last is that they were talking at the product meeting. I didn't attend this morning's product meeting. But there is this concept of a separate label, which is essentially some type of customer commitment versus just broadly communicated as aspirational. I'm just trying to get a better sense of kind of what we think as an engineering organization, and really what I'm looking for is they haven't talked about this issue at all, so have no clue versus this is something that we think is deliverable in the next month from that perspective, and just trying to get a better sense of it, not to add more process other than just to give kind of a status from that perspective, so I can get a better feel for it. But my understanding was we were going to go with the more lower touch, which is customer commitment ones. But at the same time, I'd like to understand which things we feel better about versus others. Does that make sense?
So our communication to the managers will be priorities to be the commitment of the delivery. Then the aspirational items will be optional.
So currently, let's just sit tight on what we communicate to managers. What I'm just trying to get a better sense for is what we feel like, like has even a conversation gone on, as an example? Because if a conversation hasn't happened and it's a kickoff and we've got a month to go, then it feels like, that gives me a better understanding of kind of what an aspect is. I think where they're going to end up is they're going to have a smaller subset, which is customer commitments, which will be the ones that will probably be tracked more rigorously from that perspective.
Okay.
But I don't have that list associated with it. So I don't expect it to be all of them, but I'd also like to try to understand, because if we start communicating, say, things that aren't going to happen for 6 months, that's going to cause other challenges, I think. So we, as an engineering organization, have to have a good understanding of what's being communicated effectively. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Good question, though. I know it's a little bit still nebulous. I'm just trying to get visibility more than anything else at this point. Cool. Next topic, it's a new quarter. Let's score Q2 deliverables. And if any of the Q3s are still saying, let's get them MR'd. Dahlia is asking for my MR for Q3. Sure thing.
And sorry, I am catching up from vacation as well, but we are going to follow what we did for Q2, which basically, Christopher, you define or you add development in the OKR page with an issue with a link to an issue, and we create follow-up issues for our section. Is that how you'd like to take it?
Say that again. So
what we did was, instead of each section repeating the same development OKR, I believe what we did for Q2 was you defined OKRs for development and created an issue for tracking it. And we created our own issues for our sections, and linked them back to your issue.
correct, and that's the way I'd like it to be done for this quarter as well. So
Okay.
It's literally just updating the other OKRs to kind of reflect that from below. Give me 1 second here. I got to remember when I did this. I'll find the link to it, Dahlia, which may take me a few minutes just because it's been it's been a week and a half since I last did it. So
No problem. Thank you.
okay, cool. If you use the development board, the three issues are listed there. I just don't have the MR that actually merged them into the Q3 OKRs document. And then just want to check on onboarding, because I know that dev and staging accesses were problematic. Feels a little disjointed right now in regards to we have a victim in Jay Salazar basically helping us out. But I wanted to see if there were any challenges, or if folks feel like new hires are getting onboarded fast or as quickly as possible.
The ARs have been resolved so far. At this point, I'm not aware of any new ARs pending approval regarding the onboarding process.
Okay, so it sounds like things are working. It's just that eventually that'll move back to IT ops from that perspective.
It's hard to say if it's working, but it's because we pushed down the known ARs. Any new AR, we probably have to do the same, because I have some other ARs still pending there. It's not related to onboarding, but other requests, no actions.
Okay, so you have separate access requests beyond dev and staging that are kind of lingering?
No, there are other stuff like the email alias and other stuff. So
gotcha.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Let's talk about that in our one-on-one from that perspective. Right now, I just want to make sure that the onboarding is running smoothly, because that's an important part for new hires.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not aware of any onboarding related AR, like the dev environment and staging environment.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, other than that, it sounds like it's fairly positive on the sounds of it. Okay, cool. Yeah, and if managers aren't opening ARs, then that's a problem. That's on our side we got to fix. So from that perspective, it sounds like things are moving along. Cool. And then just FYI, there's now the InfraDev and performance boards, which we're tracking on review and grooming on Mondays. From this past week, so it looked like there were 2 issues that kind of jumped out at me. Stan, I don't know if there were any others that kind of jumped out at you, but in particular, there's one that was marked as a P1S1 that's on Verify, which we should just make sure we get some activity on, which I'll talk to Tim about. And then the other one, I think, is in your area, Chen, which is a P1S2, and it says 12.2, but no one's assigned, so it was unclear if there was progress being made on it or what the status of it was from that perspective.
Oh yeah, I'm following up. It was assigned to one
Larry,
of the memory.
He's working on it, so I think it's pretty close. Let me just assign him there. So
Okay, all right. It's just I'm looking at this, look at the high level status, just trying to evaluate from that perspective. And if it's in dev, then let's get it over in the in dev column, so then kind of know what's going on. Cool. And now that I've been hard on a bunch of other topics, I'll start with the fun stuff. So one thing important to note is from InStaff was we hit 120% of our IACV for Q2. So that's an awesome result. So thanks for everybody's hard work in that area and helping our customers. So really excited about seeing that. Also, lots of good information in staff meeting. We have a new HR business partner starting in late August. There's also a proposal for manager staff level bonuses that's being proposed in the middle of August. If you want to look for that section on dog fooding and growth expectations for 2020 around our organization, which I need to follow up with Eric on.
I had a question with the IACV. Do we have any idea of like what were the big wins? Like in the past, it's been like VMware was a big win or something like that. But and then in terms of like engineering, what were the concrete things that we might have done to help that, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me follow up on that from that perspective. It's just one line that talks about the high level, so I can see if I can get some additional details. And that's a good call out from that perspective. Cool. Any questions on those two items? All right. And July was a great month for throughput as well. We hit 2097, not quite 2100, just 3 shy. Means we hit 85% for the quarter of our target, which is a 20% increase in throughput, which I'm pretty excited about. And our average MRs per engineer remains still in an acceptable range, a little bit lower than last quarter because we got up to 9.1 versus 8.6. When you start getting into the hundreds of developers, the digits actually start being more significant from that perspective. But overall, it seems like we've got a pretty good pace of MRs associated with this. One thing I need to check, Chen, you finished up back-end maintainer, increasing maintainer for the quarter. I need to pick a new victim for that, I'm guessing, from that perspective. You're nodding your head, yes.
Whoever wants to volunteer for next quarter, I have that issue still up, not closed yet. I can point to everybody to that issue. Who wants to take up next quarter?
Yeah, let me ask everybody in one-on-ones, and maybe a good time for Bartek to take it. Is what I'm thinking about. Let me talk to him later today and kind of get his feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. And then Todd, you're.
So I just wanted to let everybody know that we have established the stable counterparts for the Defend team at this point, and we're going to start working on getting the application firewall going. So that's it. More of just kind of a heads up, and if you have questions, send them my way.
Todd, is that outlined in a doc or somewhere that we could read more about it?
Well, so it's really at this point, what we have is we've got the people assigned, and it's definitely in the handbook and in the team YAML and what have you. So is there some other?
That works. I was wondering
okay.
if you started with an issue and then had MRs linked to it, but that's perfect. Thank you.
So what I did is I created an MR on it and updated the doc. Had actually Eric proof it for me. So anyway, do you want me to send you the MR or?
Yeah, can you add it to the doc actually?
Sure, you bet.
And did we assign engineers to the Defend area, or did we just how are we managing that?
Yeah, so we have one back end and one front end engineer assigned.
Got it. Okay, they're there. I missed them the first time around. Cool.
Yep.
Great work there. Yeah, it's good to see that team starting. Cool. Any other topics we need to discuss on that front? Actually hoping to get an offer out this week for the director of Defend. We'll see. We're we're in the final stages of getting approvals on it. So we'll see how that goes, whether the candidate accepts. And with CICD, just to give an update on the other director position, with CICD not starting yesterday, I am reopening that position. So if you know folks that are interested in a director position, please let me know, because I'm more than willing to talk to them. Cool. Any other things to talk about, or anything else I missed, or Dahlia missed? All right. Welcome back, Dahlia, and thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.